Let's go.
We're back.
We're back, ladies and gents. We are back in the building. Beautiful Friday afternoon in Canton, Ohio. Thank you so much for joining us again. This is episode 2. I hope that you guys all took the time to listen or view our first episode with our founders, Aaron and John.
Great episode.
We got a packed show moving forward. We got tons of feedback too. I know let's touch on the feedback a little bit, because I know we got a lot of comments, some emails, some texts saying, who are these guys? Who are you? Who am I? Why should we even listen? Do we even care about these guys? Maybe you don't, maybe you do, but let's give you a possible reason too. So let's take a moment, introduce yourselves to the people.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that was a great way to start it off, but let's, get to know us, because we're going to be the host of the podcast. My name's Tristan Pellegrin. I'm a dispatch supervisor here at DeliverThat. I've been here for 2.5 years, started as just a dispatcher under Ben training me actually, and worked my way up the ranks. And now we're here doing this podcast as another aspect of my job. It's a great time, but yeah. What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's watch letting these people know who trained you, because I don't want me to reflect on you or you to reflect on me, especially because the way you act out there. I don't want the people to think that I taught you to do those things.
Well, see, I cleaned up your act. That's what happened.
You're not wrong. Things have gotten a lot better, a lot more structured.
Yeah,
we'll put it that way. But yeah, I'll introduce myself. My name is Ben Alkire. Like Tristan said, I've been with the company since about January 2018. Started out as a driver, taking deliveries night and day, helping out Old Carolina here around the corner very, very often, like our drivers do still to this day. And then from there, I joined the dispatch squad later that year, and have kind of just moved my way up similar to Tristan. I was a supervisor for about a year or two in the dispatch department, and have recently made a move as a marketing and content coordinator. So that's why we've now developed this podcast. You're going to be seeing a lot more posts through social media from DeliverThat. We're really trying to blitz the gig economy and our viewers, and really make a name for ourselves in this industry.
Yeah. So let's get a little bit of what the show's about for them,
For sure. Yeah, the show itself. So I know we've kind of touched on it briefly, but it's really for you guys, for the drivers and the people we hope are operating on these platforms. Not necessarily only DeliverThat, but in the gig economy as a whole. So whether it be a DoorDash, an Uber Eats, a Postmates, a Grubhub, it really doesn't matter to us. We're just trying to have an open dialogue and make sure we have poignant conversations that bring to light and bring you guys information that could be useful in your daily lives.
Yeah. And just to kind of echo what Ben just said, this show is for you out there watching.
For you guys.
We're bringing a lot of different people. Yeah. A lot of different people to the show who are going to be able to provide tips, tricks, information that's going to be helpful for independent contractors, and just have a good time as well. Give you guys something to listen to while out on the road. Bring information that's going to help you excel at your own business, at your own delivery, and whatever you do out there. So we're excited to bring this to you. We're here because of you. So we appreciate that. And we really hope you enjoy the content that we bring.
For sure. And a lot of people we're going to be interacting with on the podcast, it's going to be you guys, right? We're having drivers come on and interview. So if you've been on the platform, if you have a lot of experience, you want to join us, drop your name. I know Jim will pull up the link, ideliverthat.com/podcast. Submit your questions, submit to be a guest, submit to join our platform. We'll onboard you within the day, almost instantaneously. We'll get you on as soon as we possibly can. But then we're also talking to restaurant managers. We're talking to catering sales managers. I know if we want to caveat to that, our guest today, Kevin Redding from Luna Grill. He's our first guest from outside the company. He's the Director of Digital Catering at Luna Grill. So that's a great starting point, I believe, to kind of display the information we're attempting to bring to our viewers.
Yeah, Kevin, he's just a good guy. He's really good at speaking, communicating stuff. He's been in the industry for a long time. I know he's going to have
18 to he's about 20 years now.
20 years.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of information that could be helpful to anybody out there who's listening to this, drivers, restaurant managers, things like that. And the way that he explains it is easy to understand. So we're super excited to interview him and bring that content to you.
Very excited, very excited. And then we are going to close out the show with a brand new segment. I know that we're all I just got goosebumps. Literally, I said brand new segment, folks. I got goosebumps immediately because that's how excited we are for it. It is called Know Your City. I think today's city is Chicago. We'll be we'll be randomly selecting a driver to reach out to. Hopefully they're available. Hopefully they can take our call. And then T, you want to give a rundown of what Know Your City actually is?
Yeah. So, we're going to ask them 3 questions, Question 1 gives them a $5 incentive on their next delivery if they get it right. It's about their city, that is. Question 2 is a 10, and then question 3 is 15. And we're actually reaching out to our drivers. So some people we might know, we might not know that well, but it's just going to be a good time. I always love interacting with the drivers, and this is the first time we're going to really bring somebody from outside besides the interview in on the podcast.
Yeah,
so.
I'm excited to get the driver interaction. Like you said, it's really we created this podcast for you guys, like we've already stated, and we really, really wanted to incorporate ideas that brought you guys into the podcast itself. So this is kind of our first iteration and idea to make that possible. So
I'm so excited.
Hopefully it goes very well.
Yep.
All right, but from there, let's get into the interview with Kevin from Luna Grill.
Let's do it.
As you can see, I have here with me the president of DeliverThat, Darien Terrell, and we are welcomed by our very first guest, our inaugural guest, Kevin Redding from Luna Grill. Thank you for joining us, Kevin.
And it's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. You were our first choice. We love working with your brand here. Is there an overview about yourself or Luna Grill as a whole you could quickly give our viewers?
Yeah, I'm the Director of Sales and Business Development for Luna Grill. Been with the company about 1.5 years now. And prior to that, I was with another company, which is how I got involved with DeliverThat. And when I moved over to Luna Grill, one of the first things I did was reach out to Darien and said, hey, I'd like to bring your team on board again. We had great success with my other company, and I really like what you guys do. And so I wanted to partner up again, which we did.
Yeah, definitely glad you reached out. It's been a great relationship with you guys.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, from there, realistically, you kind of already touched on one of my questions I was going to ask, but we can get into it since you kind of brought it up. DeliverThat as a whole, your expectations and how you run your operations. Like you mentioned, we had a previous relationship with you with a different brand, and then you moved to a new one and you reached out to us again. Are there certain things that we do on our end or certain things that our drivers are able to execute that allowed you or maybe made you feel safe in reaching out to us again to help you out with a new operation?
Yeah, one of the big pluses that DeliverThat offers is the ability to set up our product. So there's certain companies where it's easy to do sort of a drop off and the guest takes it from there. The last company I worked with and this one, we set up our product. So there's a buffet line that we would set up. That was obviously pre-COVID. We're not doing so much of that now. But DeliverThat, as far as I know, is the only company that will do that. So it allows me to say, hey, you guys are treating my customer the same way my driver would. And so there's no difference in the service that I'm receiving or providing my guests by using DeliverThat.
For sure. Making sure the process is as seamless as possible is obviously the goal everyone's usually shooting for.
Yep.
Is there, I guess, we try to on our end relay a message to our drivers to help them understand, that they're on their end as an independent contractor, they're running their own business, but then they're also helping DeliverThat as a business, and then you and Luna Grill as a business as well. So they're kind of the major player and major piece to make sure everything goes as seamlessly as possible. Can you speak to the importance of what a catering driver or an independent contractor, the experience they can provide to you guys and your customers, and how important that aspect of it really is?
Yeah, I'll give you an example from my when I worked for a hotel chain, a really large hotel chain, and this will sort of give you an idea. But we used to have a client, and I worked for Marriott. He was a big Marriott customer, and he would bring conventions into the hotels. And what he would do is before he would sign a contract is he would have lunch with the sales manager. And Marriott was a Pepsi house, so we carried Pepsi products. However, in the gift shop, you could get cans of Coke.
Oh, wow.
And what he would do at lunch, when a server asked him what he wanted to drink, he'd say, I would like a Coke and I'd like it in a can. And he'd wait and see. And if the server took the extra step to go to the gift shop and get the can of Coke and deliver it, he would sign the contract on the spot.
Right.
If they didn't, he didn't sign the contract. And what he was saying is, if I can get a server to treat me like that, then I know that my group is going to be well taken care of. And so when people think, gee, I'm just a server or I'm just a driver, I don't have an impact, that's wrong. You have a huge impact on the guest, which translates back to them doing more frequent orders with Luna Grill. And then obviously me hiring DeliverThat to do more frequent deliveries. So a lot of times people don't realize how important they are to the process, but delivery drivers, everybody wants to own that last mile. And unfortunately, with the way labor is these days, companies can't always own their own last mile. So we rely on companies like DeliverThat, and that's super important to us.
I think that that's an awesome story to hear from you there, Kevin. The whole point and the premise of this show right now is to kind of send a message to drivers, which is our audience and who we have really working hand in hand with our company, and letting them know how important they truly are. Because in the day-to-day, things can get lost. They can feel like it's another delivery, it's another job for them, another gig, but they don't truly get to hear on a day-to-day basis from someone of your caliber how important their task and their job truly is. So I think that was a home run story, and something that
for sure, it's that guy's a little trickster.
Yeah, that I haven't heard of. It's like you hear about it, kind of in passing, some crazy stories, but that one has some logic to it, and it correlates to delivery. Perfect.
Yeah, for sure. Always, seeing, if there's an extra mile that can be made, why there should be no reason that you're not attempting to at least facilitate the customer's wants and needs in any fashion that you could. I think, that makes a ton of sense. You touched on a little bit towards the end there, the opportunities and reoccurring customers and things of that nature. The catering business as a whole, what opportunities does that provide to a brand like Luna Grill, where you can turn those customers into first timers to consistent week over week or once a month or every few months? Are there specific examples you have where there are instances where you've had a customer have such a great experience where they're immediately reordering?
It's not so much the great experiences, because I think a lot of customers expect that with certain companies. Mm-hmm. Luna Grill is certainly one of them. It's when something goes wrong that it can take away from. Right. And just from the sales perspective, it takes about 10 touches with a client before they will do business with you. So if I were to lose a client, I've got to go touch 10 other people to make up for that one person that I lost. Whereas when we provide excellent service and everything along that lines, even though a guest may not call it out, they're going to return to us.
Yeah, I like the touch points part, because and just if we're going to go back to the day-to-day of a delivery, that screams the importance on our end, right, as doing dispatch and aligning deliveries, that, hey, it might say that we're running 10 minutes behind, or the driver might be, stuck in traffic. But the conversation with the restaurant is completely different, because they feel that pressure. They know how much work has gone into it on the back end to get that single order, right?
For sure.
So I really like that 10 touch point kind of statistic that you have there.
Well, I know we specifically, the three of us, had an instance maybe a month or 2 months ago where we had an issue with a customer, I think, or something along those lines. And I remember, Kevin, I think me and Darien both responded to your email like almost instantaneously. And you're like, wow, thank you guys so much for getting back to me so quickly. Do you see it on your end? Is there like a response time or certain things that can be corrected immediately or as fast as possible that would maybe help a customer understand an issue that happened or anything along those lines?
So most of the time with a client doesn't see DeliverThat as separate from Luna Grill, right, or whatever company they're delivering for. So even though they may walk in with a DeliverThat logo on their shirt, they're a Luna Grill driver. Mm-hmm. So when we respond back to a client, I never try and make it we use a third-party delivery company. It doesn't matter. It's a Luna Grill delivery driver. And so I respond back to the client. And that's why when I reach out to you, Ben, or when I bring Darien into it and say, hey, here's an opportunity for us. It is important, that I get immediate feedback. but I've typically already addressed it with the client. But part of it is we've got two different clients. We've got the ultimate end guest who's getting the food, but then we also have the client, which are the restaurants. And so you've got the GM who relies on you. So they're putting their trust in to deliver that you're going to be on time and deliver a product with the same customer service they would. And when something goes wrong, we not only let down that end user, but we also let down that general manager.
For sure.
And so that's where, when I get immediately back to them from you, it's saying, hey, I've addressed it with DeliverThat. This is what DeliverThat's doing that to handle this. So they have confidence to continue to use you.
Yeah, of course. And we always appreciate that. Obviously, like we always say, communication between the partners is going to be the end all be all for most situations, and the key point that, is an issue going to get escalated and get much worse, or can it be hashed out almost immediately? And communication is only the thing that's going to be able to help those situations.
And I think one of the most imperative things to, troubleshooting issues and incidents that do occur is having a brand just like you guys at Luna Grill that are willing to hear both sides of the story. A lot of the times, it's one-sided, or our side or the driver's side might get lost in the shuffle. But having a partner that's able to say, hey, here's what I'm hearing from my end. Can you kind of get the feedback from your drivers? Can you give me your timestamps? Can you tell me if there's any incidents, tickets filed, so that then we could make a decision collectively to, at the end of the day, make it an overall better experience for your customer and for our customer, which would be that GM in that store.
Yeah, and that's where I say that, this is a partnership, and your drivers are no different than if they work directly for Luna Grill. Mm-hmm. And I would do the same thing. I'd say, hey, driver, tell me your story. Client, tell me their story, and let's figure out. It's not let's figure out what went wrong. Let's figure out how to prevent it in the future.
Right.
Exactly.
Or just how you correct it. Right.
Typically, when I reach out to you to get an answer, is I'm trying to make sure that the GM knows how responsive you are, and that their concerns are being taken into consideration, so they have the confidence to continue to use you.
Love that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I apologize there, cutting you guys off a couple of times. Just continuing kind of down the line of speaking we're on right now. Fixing or correcting mistakes that were made. Are there any things you guys see on your end specifically that helps drivers or independent contractors, whether they're at DeliverThat, another service, or anything like that, build rapport with your store locations or with your customers specifically? And not necessarily the good things we're doing. Obviously, we know a driver who's on time, a driver who shows up looking good, clean cut, a driver who sets up the food and does everything the customer expects. Obviously, that's going to be a great experience for you guys and the driver and the customer. But are there things that when things do go wrong, like we're discussing, that drivers, the independent contractor, can rebuild that rapport with the restaurant sites themselves? You think you've ran into any issues like that where you have stores like, hey, this driver can never come back here, or hey, this driver has consistent issues? Are there any things we can do on our end to maybe regulate those scenarios?
That's a hard one, because it takes a lot for a GM to say, I don't want to deal with that driver anymore.
For sure.
And the only time that I've ever heard it is when it's a bad attitude from the driver. It's not because they're late. It's not because they forgot something. It's when they come in and it's sort of a blame game. You're late. This is going on. It's more attitude driven than anything else. I think those drivers that our GMs love are the ones that come in with a smile on their face and they have a great attitude. They could be running 5 minutes behind, and the GM still loves working with them because it has to do with the attitude, and they know that attitude is going to spill over to their client. If you get a driver walking into the restaurant who's got a bad attitude, that bad attitude is going to go right to the client just as well.
I got a question for you, Kevin, and this is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. And this is something I bring up in some conversations that I have and it's going to put you on the spot here, but do you have an instance, that you can remember when a driver kind of stood out to your stores on a positive note? You always hear you tell drivers go above and beyond, but it's really hard to provide something tangible, right? And say, hey, here's what going above and beyond looks like. Is there something or an example that you would have where a driver was brought up in conversation in a positive note, and what that kind of story was?
I don't off the top of my head.
Okay.
They do happen. They do happen, and it's hard when you're dealing with 51 restaurants and there's other people who are. And to me, it's sort of, if I don't hear things back, that's good news because of the level I'm at.
For sure.
So I'm going to get the bad thing, but I do know that we have several restaurants that they're like, hey, I love this driver. I'm always going to request this driver. And I wish I had specifics for you, but I do know that it goes on out there.
Of course, yeah. Like you said, everyone's always going to hear about the bad times. It's the good stuff that almost doesn't get talked about because, like we said, those are the expectations, right? It going good is what should be happening. So when it goes great or goes good, you're rarely going to hear about that except when the customer orders again. You're like, oh well, they must have had a good experience.
Yeah. And when I know things are going well, is when there is an opportunity that pops up, but the GM is like, you know what, that's a rarity. I'm still okay with DeliverThat. Yeah. Or when you're in a meeting and somebody says, oh, I've had a bad experience with DeliverThat and their driver. And then you get another GM who pops up and says, you know what, I've had that happen once, but 20 other times it was perfect. And I would be losing all that revenue if I didn't use them.
For sure.
And the thing that I love is just getting that email, taking a look and seeing a subject VIP client from Luna Grill, right? Because I know that speaks volumes. Not the fact that we're taking a large order. It's the fact that your team, because it's at the store level, and then you yourself believe in our drivers to execute and represent your guys' brand for a client that is VIP, and a massive revenue opportunity in that moment and for the future. So that's something that always brings a smile to my face when I see that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we're not just taking the the little 10-person order and giving it to DeliverThat. We're in a partnership. So if it comes down to, hey, I've got a VIP order and we don't have anybody and we're going to turn to DeliverThat, I know that I can count on your team.
For sure. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you giving hopefully giving our fleet of drivers some nuggets to chew on here, and hopefully some of the things we discussed they'll feel are pertinent and really apply to their daily lives. Because like we all said at the beginning, we're really here to just provide, an open dialogue for our fleet of drivers and help them understand, how important of a piece they really are to this industry and the economy we're all trying to, at this point in time, bring back to the flourishing thing it was, in 2019 or something along those lines. So yeah. Thank you so much.
And I think something else to because you asked, what a driver can do or, what makes them good is when your drivers come in, if they're going to the same restaurants, and they probably do, but if they don't, find out who the GM is, find out who the assistant manager is. So when they walk in, they can go up and say, hey, Kevin, I've got an order I'm picking up today, where is it, whatever, and sort of establish that rapport. So it's not just like, hey, I've got an order to pick up, but it's like, hey, I'm Kevin, and hey, Ben, good to see you again. Where's my order? And establish that rapport, because that's also going to help the GM to remember going, hey, I really like Kevin, or I really like Ben, so I'm going to request him next time.
That's a great nugget. We'll have to make sure you highlight that one, Jim, because I think that if drivers really start living by that and see this more as a relationship building process opposed to just an order fulfillment process, it'll pay dividends to them. Building relationships at the store level, consistent deliveries, will make for the ease of delivery being night and day difference.
Yeah, hopefully leading to a very seamless process on all our ends. All right, I got Tristan here back in the booth. A pretty great interview, I think, with Kevin. Hopefully you guys get some good tidbits there, some good information here to provide you moving forward. We're going to move right along, get into our brand new segment called Know Your City here. Tristan?
Yeah.
You think this is going to go pretty well, right?
Oh, I'm excited. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's Holley, can you generate us a city, please, ma'am?
Random city. We're doing random city generator here. We're going to generate a random city that we work in.
Chicago. Chi-town.
All right, Chicago. Let's see here. We got 3 questions about Chicago that we're going to be giving to a driver. All right, 3 questions about the city. It's called Know Your City, obviously. First question, right? $5 incentive on their next delivery. 2 questions, 10. Third question, 15. They get progressively harder as you go to each question.
Oh, yeah.
So now we have to generate a random driver. So Holley, can we generate a random driver?
Bop, 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 bop.
Juanita?
Juanita.
Oh, that's Juanita. All right.
Yeah, she's a rock star. Let's get her on the horn.
All right. Let's give her a call here. One second. I got to find this in the contacts.
1 hour later.
Hey, Juanita. This is Tristan. I'm calling you from DeliverThat. Hey, I was wondering, you got a couple minutes? What would you say?
Yeah, I got a few minutes.
Okay.
I got a few minutes.
Okay, well, guess what? We got you right now. It's not live, but we have you on the DeliverThat. It's called DeliveringMore podcast. Are you all right with that?
Am I familiar with that?
No. Are you all right with that?
Definitely not familiar. It's brand new.
Yeah. Well, basically, we're doing a little segment. It's called Know Your City. Okay, so we ask you 3 questions about your city, and then they progressively get harder. And if you get 1 question right, you get $5 on your next delivery. 2 questions, you get 10. 3 questions, you get 15. How do you feel about it?
I'm okay.
All right, you ready for the first question?
She is our first guest.
For sure.
All right, you're our first guest ever for this segment, Juanita. Congratulations.
Okay.
All right, so first question I'll ask, and
It's
then
a
I'll
tough
pass it
one.
off to Ben.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's a
real
real
tough
tough one. What is Chicago's famous nickname?
Chi-town.
Oh, man.
Oh,
That's not bad. It's not bad.
That's not bad. It's close, though. You're close.
Hold on. The Windy City.
You
There
got
we
it. There
go.
it is. I got to give you that one because Chi-Town's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that we could have gave 2 answers there.
All right, I'm giving you over to Ben. You ask you the second question, okay?
All right, Juanita. Juanita, can you hear me?
Okay, let me say that.
Juanita, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Awesome. All right, second question. What sport is Chicago known for inventing? And this is a multiple choice here, all right? And it's a little tricky, so think over the answers, all right? So A,
You said invention?
invented. What sport did Chicago invent?
Yeah, we got 3 choices for you.
So the first one, baseball. Second, football. And third, softball.
I'm not gonna go with softball. I'll go with baseball.
Oh, man.
You were close. It
You
was
had
softball.
it. You had it. You should have went with your gut.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that one either, to be honest with you.
Softball. Okay.
Man.
We got
all
one more,
all
though, okay?
Yeah,
one more
one
for
more.
the $10. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Last question. This one could be tricky
Yeah, this
too.
one's really tough.
All right, this is tricky. All right. What industry is Chicago known for being the capital of? It's like during the industrial times. Like what was Chicago
a lot of
specialize
shipping.
in?
A lot of shipping.
Yeah, a lot of shipping. You know.
I'm thinking.
It's real old timey. We don't use it much anymore.
I don't know. But they got a seafood dock on docks right up the Grand.
Think transportation, transporting goods.
Transportation, transporting goods
Uh-huh.
and shipping.
Choo choo. Chugga 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 chugga
Yeah.
chugga.
What was that?
I said the training.
Yes, the railroad industry.
Railroad. There
Yep.
we go.
That was a tricky one. But we're gonna give you it, all right?
Okay.
All right, we went 2 for 3. We went 2 for 3, right? That's a $10 incentive.
Absolutely. We'll get you a $10 incentive on your next delivery.
Bow, 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 bow. That's our first winner, baby.
Yep.
Juanita, thank you so much for joining us.
Yep. We'll talk to you soon, I imagine.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right, we'll see you. All right.
That was good.
I
That
think
was good.
That went pretty well for our first go at it, right?
Yeah.
A little choppy, but
Yeah, I think we should maybe the questions maybe were a little bit trickier than we thought.
yeah, I think for some reason I thought we had a different second question. I thought
That was the win.
I thought that
game
was the
winner.
yeah. I thought the second question was the last one for some reason. I must got our wires crossed there. Not a big deal.
No.
She's still getting $10 on that next delivery. That's a great win. Great opportunity. Won. Right there
Yeah,
for
that
her.
was awesome. Yeah.
That was great.
Such a good sport about it too. Hey, you're on a podcast. You never know. Like you're like, oh, geez, it's just randomly, just like, oh, okay.
I mean, thank the Lord she answered the second call. That would have been very awkward if
Yep.
she did not answer. I don't know.
Great
what
segment.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we would have done there. That would have been really, really tough. All right. Well, I mean, let's close the show out, right, T? I mean,
Yeah, let's do it.
let's plug this website, and let's get out of here, right? So guys, again, at the bottom of the video here, you'll see the link, ideliverthat.com/podcast. You can go there, submit some questions, submit to be a guest. You can also submit to become a driver on the DeliverThat platform. We can start your onboarding almost immediately once you submit to that link, and we'd love to have you. So please join, please like, subscribe, comment on the video, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and let me just say before we go, we are very excited to answer viewer questions, so please take the opportunity. We would love to answer your questions about the industry, about us. Any questions you got, we're happy to answer them. So thank you, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you guys.